For more than a century, diamonds have ruled the gemstone world. But what if that dominance is starting to crack? Today, collectors are paying record prices for gemstones that most people have never even heard of. Some come from a single location on Earth. Some change color before your eyes. And some are so rare that even wealthy collectors struggle to find them. By the end of this video, you'll understand why many experts believe the future of luxury may not belong to diamonds alone, and which gemstones could become the next great icons of rarity, value, and desire. Let's start with a remarkable blue-violet gemstone whose entire known supply comes from just one place on Earth. Number 10. Tanzanite. At number 10 is Tanzanite, a gemstone that may represent one of the biggest shifts happening in the luxury world today. At first glance, Tanzanite is stunning. Its rich blue-violet color often reminds people of sapphire, yet it possesses a distinctive glow that feels entirely its own. But beauty isn't the reason experts continue to watch this stone closely. The real story begins with a simple fact. Unlike diamonds, which are mined in multiple countries across several continents, Tanzanite comes from just one known commercial source on Earth, a narrow strip of land near Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. That's it. If that sounds unusual, consider this. Some diamond deposits stretch across entire regions, while the world's Tanzanite supply is concentrated in an area only a few miles wide, and that changes everything. For decades, luxury was often associated with abundance. Major brands could increase production. Popular products could be manufactured again and again. Even many gemstones could be sourced from multiple locations around the world. Tanzanite doesn't offer that kind of flexibility. Its supply is tied to a single geological event that occurred millions of years ago under conditions so specific that scientists have yet to discover another deposit of comparable significance anywhere else on Earth. That reality has begun attracting the attention of collectors who are increasingly interested in something many luxury products struggle to provide: genuine scarcity. Not scarcity created by marketing, not scarcity created by limited editions. Scarcity created by nature itself. And that's an important distinction. As the world becomes flooded with products designed to appear exclusive, many buyers are becoming more fascinated by things that are truly difficult to replace. Tanzanite fits that trend perfectly. Its growing appeal isn't necessarily a prediction that it will surpass diamonds in popularity overnight. Rather, it reflects a larger cultural shift. More collectors are asking whether rarity should be measured by brand recognition or by how difficult something actually is to find. That question could become even more important as 2030 approaches, because if the future of luxury belongs to objects with genuine limits, Tanzanite may be one of the earliest signs of where the market is heading. But scarcity alone isn't enough to challenge the dominance of diamonds. The next gemstone offers something entirely different. Not a story of limited supply. A story of transformation. A gemstone so unusual that it can appear green in one moment and red in the next, creating an experience that feels almost impossible the first time it's seen. Number 9. Alexandrite. At number 9 is Alexandrite, a gemstone so unusual that many people assume they're looking at a trick of the light the first time they see it. In a way, they are. Under daylight, Alexandrite typically displays shades of green, bluish-green, or teal, yet move that same gemstone beneath warm, incandescent lighting, and those colors can shift dramatically into red, purplish-red, or raspberry tones. The transformation is real, and for nearly 2 centuries it has fascinated gem collectors around the world. Discovered in Russia's Ural Mountains during the 1830s, Alexandrite quickly became famous for its remarkable optical behavior. Even today, fine examples remain among the most sought-after collector gemstones on the market. But what makes Alexandrite particularly important in a discussion about the future of diamonds has surprisingly little to do with rarity alone. It has everything to do with experience. For much of the 20th century, luxury was built around ownership. Consumers were often attracted to products that signaled success through size, price, or brand recognition. That model is changing. Modern collectors increasingly value experiences, stories, and emotional engagement. They want objects that feel personal rather than predictable. Alexandrite fits perfectly into that shift. Unlike most gemstones, it never presents itself exactly the same way twice. Morning sunlight reveals one personality. Evening light reveals another. A simple change in environment creates an entirely different visual encounter. That dynamic quality gives Alexandrite something many luxury products struggle to provide. Surprise. And surprise is powerful. Psychologists have long understood that unexpected experiences create stronger memories than familiar ones. In the luxury world, memorable experiences often become more desirable than ownership itself. This may help explain why collectors continue seeking Alexandrite despite its relatively low public profile compared to diamonds, sapphires, or rubies. The appeal goes beyond appearance. It lies in the experience of discovery. Every owner becomes part observer, part participant, watching the gemstone reveal a different side of itself under changing conditions. As 2030 approaches, that ability to create wonder may become increasingly valuable, because the future of luxury may belong not only to the rarest objects, but also to the most unforgettable experiences. Yet even Alexandrite's remarkable transformation isn't the strongest form of exclusivity. Some collectors want something else entirely. Not a gemstone that changes before their eyes. A gemstone so scarce that most people will never have the opportunity to see one in person. And that's where the next stone enters the story. Number 8. Red Beryl. At number 8 is Red Beryl, a gemstone so rare that many experienced collectors can spend years studying gemstones without ever seeing a fine specimen in person. At first glance, that might sound like just another story about rarity. But Red Beryl reveals something much more important. It helps explain why the meaning of status is beginning to change. For decades, luxury status was built around visibility. People purchased items that others could immediately recognize. A famous watch, a famous car, a famous diamond. Recognition itself became part of the value. Today, however, a different trend is emerging among serious collectors. Many are no longer searching for what everyone knows. They're searching for what almost nobody knows. And few gemstones illustrate that shift better than Red Beryl. Sometimes called the Red Emerald, this remarkable gemstone is found primarily in a handful of locations in the American state of Utah. Gem-quality material remains extraordinarily scarce, with some estimates suggesting that fine Red Beryl is significantly rarer than high-quality diamonds. Yet, despite its rarity, most people have never heard of it. That's precisely what makes it fascinating. In the collector world, exclusivity increasingly comes from knowledge rather than visibility. Owning something recognizable can signal wealth. Owning something almost nobody else understands can signal expertise. That distinction matters, because modern luxury buyers are becoming more selective about how they express identity. Instead of asking, "What will people recognize?" many are asking, "What makes this different from everything else?" Red Beryl offers a compelling answer. Its appeal isn't built on decades of marketing campaigns or global advertising. It isn't the centerpiece of major jewelry store displays. It doesn't benefit from the cultural dominance that helped diamonds become household names. Instead, its reputation spreads through gemologists, collectors, auction specialists, and enthusiasts who understand exactly how unusual it is. In many ways, Red Beryl represents a growing shift away from mainstream luxury and toward collector luxury. A world where exclusivity comes not from owning what everyone wants, but from discovering what almost everyone overlooks. And as that mindset continues to grow, gemstones like Red Beryl may attract increasing attention from buyers seeking individuality rather than convention. But even the rarest collector secret can eventually become known. What happens when a gemstone spends decades hidden in plain sight, only for the world to suddenly realize its true importance? The next stone may be one of the greatest comeback stories in gemstone history. Number 7. Spinel. At number 7 is Spinel, a gemstone that spent centuries hiding in plain sight. That may sound impossible. After all, gemstones don't simply disappear from history, yet Spinel managed to do exactly that. For hundreds of years, some of the world's most famous rubies were not rubies at all. They were spinels. One of the most famous examples sits in the British Crown Jewels. Known as the Black Prince's ruby, this legendary stone has traveled through wars, royal dynasties, and centuries of history. There is only one problem. It isn't a ruby. It is a spinel. And stories like that are precisely why this gemstone has become increasingly important in today's collector market. Because spinel represents a powerful idea that extends far beyond gemstones. Sometimes the most valuable discoveries are not new discoveries at all. Sometimes they're forgotten truths. For much of modern history, spinel lived in the shadow of ruby. It lacked the same recognition, the same prestige, and the same marketing power. As a result, many collectors overlooked it entirely. But markets have a fascinating habit. Eventually, they revisit things they misunderstood. And when that happens, value can change dramatically. This pattern appears repeatedly throughout history. Forgotten artists become celebrated masters. Ignored cars become prized collectibles. Overlooked coins become auction stars. Now many experts believe Spinel is experiencing a similar reevaluation. Collectors are beginning to appreciate it not as a substitute for ruby, but as a remarkable gemstone in its own right. That distinction is critical. The growing appeal of Spinel isn't driven by hype. It's driven by recognition. As information becomes more accessible, buyers are becoming more educated. They are looking beyond traditional assumptions and asking deeper questions about rarity, history, and authenticity. And Spinel benefits directly from that trend. Every new collector who learns the truth about famous historical rubies often discovers the same thing. The gemstone they never considered suddenly becomes far more interesting. In many ways, Spinel reflects a broader shift taking place across luxury markets. People are becoming less interested in what has always been popular and more interested in what has been underestimated. And underestimated assets often have the most compelling stories. But even a remarkable comeback story isn't enough to dominate the future. Because the next gemstone isn't gaining attention because it was forgotten. It's gaining attention because it is almost impossible to ignore. A gemstone so vivid, so electrifying, that its color alone has transformed the way collectors think about rarity. Number 6. Paraíba Tourmaline. At number 6 is Paraíba Tourmaline, a gemstone that changed the gemstone industry simply by being impossible to ignore. The first time most people see a fine Paraíba Tourmaline, the reaction is remarkably similar. The color doesn't look real. Its electric blue and neon green glow appears almost artificial, as if the stone has been illuminated from within. Even among experienced collectors who have spent decades studying gemstones, Paraíba Tourmaline often creates an immediate sense of disbelief. And that reaction may explain why this gemstone has become one of the strongest challengers to traditional ideas about luxury. For generations, diamonds dominated because they symbolized wealth, permanence, and status. But modern markets operate differently. Today, attention has become one of the most valuable resources in the world. Every brand competes for it. Every platform measures it. Every luxury product depends on it. In an age driven by images, visibility matters more than ever. That shift creates an advantage for gemstones capable of capturing attention instantly. Few gemstones do that better than Paraíba Tourmaline. Discovered in Brazil during the late 1980s, Paraíba Tourmaline stunned the gemological world with colors unlike anything seen before. Scientists later discovered that traces of copper within the crystal structure were responsible for its extraordinary glow. The result was something the market had never encountered, not simply another blue gemstone, a completely different visual experience. And that distinction matters. Because modern collectors increasingly seek objects that stand apart from everything around them. A gemstone that requires explanation can be valuable. A gemstone that commands attention before anyone speaks may be even more valuable. Paraíba Tourmaline possesses that rare ability. Its appeal extends beyond rarity, beyond geology, and even beyond traditional notions of prestige. It creates immediate impact. In many ways, it reflects a broader cultural reality. The 21st century rewards visibility. The things that capture attention often gain influence, desirability, and demand. Paraíba Tourmaline embodies that principle better than almost any gemstone on Earth. As 2030 approaches, that visual dominance could become an increasingly powerful advantage in a market where uniqueness matters more than familiarity. But even attention has limits, because eventually the conversation shifts from what is visually extraordinary to what can never truly be replaced. And the next gemstone owes its reputation to exactly that, a stone whose value comes from a source that may never exist again. Number 5. Kashmir Sapphire. At number 5 is Kashmir Sapphire, a gemstone whose reputation was built not only on beauty, but on something far more powerful: absence. Many gemstones become valuable because they are rare. Kashmir Sapphire became legendary because the world can no longer create another Kashmir. Discovered in the remote mountains of Kashmir during the late 19th century, these sapphires quickly gained a reputation unlike any other. Collectors, gemologists, and auction houses became captivated by their extraordinary velvety blue color, a visual quality that remains one of the most celebrated phenomena in the gemstone world. Yet what transformed Kashmir Sapphire from a remarkable gemstone into a legend was not the discovery itself. It was what happened afterward. The original deposits produced gemstones for only a relatively brief period before declining dramatically. Over time, the supply of fine Kashmir material became increasingly limited while demand continued to grow. That imbalance created something modern markets find irresistible, a truly irreplaceable asset. This is where Kashmir Sapphire reveals an important truth about the future of luxury. People often assume value comes from rarity alone, but rarity can sometimes be solved. New deposits can be discovered, new sources can emerge, new supplies can enter the market. Irreplaceability is different. Irreplaceability means the original source, the original story, and the original conditions may never exist again. That distinction carries enormous psychological power. Collectors are not simply purchasing a sapphire. They are acquiring a fragment of something that belongs to a specific moment in geological and human history. And once that moment passes, it cannot be recreated. This same principle appears throughout luxury markets. Vintage automobiles, historic watches, masterpieces from long-deceased artists. Their value often comes from the fact that no future production can truly replace them. Kashmir Sapphire occupies a similar position within the gemstone world. Its growing appeal reflects a broader cultural shift in which buyers increasingly seek permanence in a rapidly changing world. The knowledge that something cannot be replicated creates a level of desirability that marketing alone can never achieve. As 2030 approaches, that desire for authenticity and irreplaceability may become even more important. Because in a world filled with endless alternatives, the things that can never be replaced often become the most treasured. But some collectors aren't searching for what has already become famous. They're searching for something far more exclusive. A hidden treasure known primarily to insiders. A gemstone whose value comes not from public recognition, but from knowledge itself. And that leads directly to the next remarkable stone on this list. Number 4. Benitoite. At number 4 is Benitoite, a gemstone that perfectly illustrates a growing reality within the luxury world. Sometimes the most valuable thing isn't ownership, it's knowing something that most people don't. For generations, status was often linked to visibility. The most recognizable brands, the most famous gemstones, and the most widely admired luxury items naturally attracted attention. But as information has become more accessible, a new form of status has emerged: knowledge itself. And few gemstones represent that shift better than Benitoite. Discovered in California in the early 20th century, Benitoite is famous among gemologists for its vivid blue color and extraordinary fluorescence. Under ultraviolet light, it can display an intense glow that immediately separates it from many other gemstones. Yet despite its remarkable properties, most people have never heard of it. That fact is precisely what makes it so fascinating. Unlike diamonds, rubies, or sapphires, Benitoite never became a household name. It remained largely within the world of collectors, mineral enthusiasts, and gemstone specialists. For years, that limited recognition appeared to be a disadvantage. Today, it may be an advantage. Modern luxury buyers are increasingly drawn to discoveries rather than advertisements. They enjoy finding something before everyone else finds it. They value the feeling of possessing knowledge that remains hidden from the broader public. This behavior can be seen throughout collector culture. Rare watches, historic wines, limited artworks. The pattern remains the same. The people who understand these markets often derive satisfaction not only from ownership, but from understanding something others overlook. Benitoite fits that mindset perfectly. Its appeal is built on discovery. A person encountering Benitoite for the first time often asks the same question: why haven't I heard of this before? That moment of curiosity becomes part of the gemstone's power. In many ways, Benitoite reflects a future in which information creates value. As buyers become more educated, they increasingly seek gemstones with unique geological stories, unusual properties, and deeper layers of meaning. The result is a shift away from popularity and toward expertise. And expertise can be incredibly valuable, especially in markets where everyone already knows the obvious choices. By 2030, that desire for insider knowledge may continue pushing collectors toward gemstones like Benitoite, stones whose significance lies not only in what they are, but in what they represent. But even hidden knowledge has limits. Because eventually, collectors begin searching for something beyond rarity, beyond expertise, and beyond exclusivity. They begin searching for mystery itself. And few gemstones embody mystery more completely than the next remarkable stone on this list. Number 3. Black Opal. At number 3 is Black Opal, a gemstone that challenges one of the oldest assumptions in luxury, the assumption that perfection is always the goal. At first glance, black opal seems almost impossible to define. Within a single stone, flashes of electric blue, fiery red, emerald green, and brilliant gold can appear and disappear with the slightest movement. Colors emerge, vanish, and return from different angles, creating patterns that often resemble galaxies, lightning storms, or distant nebulae. No photograph ever captures the full experience, and perhaps that's exactly the point. Because black opal's greatest strength isn't perfection, it's mystery. For generations, luxury industries have celebrated precision, consistency, and flawless execution. Yet human psychology often responds more strongly to things that remain partially unexplained. People remember mysteries. People return to mysteries. People become emotionally attached to mysteries. Black opal embodies that principle better than almost any gemstone on Earth. Unlike diamonds, which are often valued for predictable characteristics and standardized grading systems, black opal resists easy categorization. Every stone is different. Every pattern is unique. Every play of color tells a different story. That unpredictability creates something remarkably powerful. Curiosity. Collectors don't simply admire black opal. They study it. The gemstone reveals different colors throughout the day, encouraging repeated observation. Even longtime owners often discover details they had never noticed before. In a world increasingly driven by algorithms, standardization, and mass production, that sense of unpredictability has become surprisingly valuable. Many modern collectors are no longer searching for objects that look identical to everyone else's. They're searching for objects that feel personal. Objects that cannot be fully explained, objects that continue revealing new layers over time. Black opal offers exactly that experience. Its value isn't built solely on rarity, although fine specimens are unquestionably rare. Its value comes from emotional engagement. The gemstone invites imagination, and imagination often creates stronger desire than certainty ever could. This may help explain why black opal continues attracting collectors seeking something beyond traditional luxury. Not simply ownership, not simply status, but wonder. As 2030 approaches, that emotional connection may become increasingly important in a market where storytelling and individuality continue gaining influence. Yet even mystery isn't the ultimate source of value. Because some gemstones possess something even more powerful, a connection not merely to personal emotion, but to centuries of cultural identity, tradition, and meaning. And that brings us to a gemstone whose influence extends far beyond the world of jewelry itself. Number 2. Jadeite. At number 2 is Jadeite, a gemstone that reveals a truth many luxury brands spend billions trying to achieve. The strongest form of value cannot be advertised into existence. It must be inherited. Long before modern marketing campaigns, celebrity endorsements, or global luxury houses, Jadeite was already a symbol of prestige, protection, prosperity, and cultural identity. For centuries, emperors, nobles, scholars, and collectors treasured it not because advertisements told them to. They treasured it because generations before them had done the same. That distinction is incredibly important, because while many luxury products depend on marketing to create demand, Jadeite benefits from something far more powerful: cultural memory. Unlike trends that rise and fall over a few years, cultural traditions can survive for centuries. And when a gemstone becomes deeply embedded within those traditions, its value often extends far beyond rarity or appearance. Jadeite demonstrates this perfectly. Some of the finest examples have achieved extraordinary auction prices, rivaling or exceeding many famous diamonds. Yet collectors are rarely purchasing jadeite solely because of its beauty. They are purchasing history. They are purchasing symbolism. They are purchasing a connection to something larger than themselves. This represents a major shift taking place throughout luxury markets. Increasingly, buyers are looking for meaning, not just products, not just status. Meaning. A luxury item with a powerful story often creates a stronger emotional connection than one built primarily around branding. And few gemstones possess stories as deep as jadeite. Its influence spans dynasties, cultures, traditions, ceremonies, and generations of collectors. In many parts of the world, ownership of exceptional jadeite still carries significance that extends far beyond monetary value. That cultural foundation creates remarkable resilience. Markets can fluctuate, trends can change, advertising campaigns can disappear. But traditions often endure. As 2030 approaches, that endurance may become increasingly important, because the future of luxury may belong not only to the rarest objects, but also to those carrying the deepest meaning. Jadeite proves that value is not always created through visibility. Sometimes it is created through belief. And belief can be one of the most powerful forces in any market. Yet even cultural legacy may not be enough to claim the top position on this list, because one gemstone combines multiple forces we've seen throughout this countdown: rarity, attention, identity, exclusivity, and a growing global demand that continues to surprise even experienced collectors. The number 1 gemstone may represent the clearest picture yet of where luxury is heading after diamonds. Number 1. Musgravite. At number 1 is Musgravite, and if the future of luxury belongs to true rarity rather than mass recognition, Musgravite may be the clearest glimpse of that future. Most people have never heard its name. Even many gemstone enthusiasts will go their entire lives without seeing one in person. That alone makes Musgravite different from almost every gemstone we've discussed so far. Because while diamonds became famous through global marketing, Musgravite became legendary through scarcity. Discovered in the remote Musgrave Ranges of Australia and later found in only a handful of locations around the world, gem-quality Musgravite remains extraordinarily rare. For decades, fewer fine specimens existed than many collectors could count. Even today, exceptional stones appear so infrequently that auction houses and private collectors often compete aggressively whenever one reaches the market. But rarity alone does not explain why Musgravite claims the top position on this list. The real story is what happens when rarity meets modern luxury psychology. For generations, luxury was built around visibility. People purchased famous objects because everyone recognized them. Today's elite collectors are increasingly moving in the opposite direction. They are searching for things that almost nobody else can own, not because they're expensive, because they're nearly impossible to find. Musgravite represents the ultimate version of that idea. Owning a diamond tells people you purchased something valuable. Owning a Musgravite tells people you discovered something most of the world doesn't even know exists. That difference is becoming increasingly important. Across luxury markets, exclusivity is shifting away from brand recognition and toward genuine scarcity. Collectors want assets that cannot simply be manufactured, reproduced, or scaled to meet demand. Musgravite offers exactly that. Its supply remains extremely limited. Its geological conditions are exceptionally uncommon. And every fine specimen that enters the market reinforces a simple reality. There may never be enough Musgravites to satisfy future demand. As 2030 approaches, that combination of rarity, exclusivity, and collector appeal could become increasingly powerful. Will Musgravite ever replace diamonds entirely? Probably not. But perhaps that's missing the point. The future of luxury may not belong to the gemstone everyone recognizes. It may belong to the gemstone almost nobody can obtain, and few gemstones embody that future more completely than Musgravite. For more than a century, diamonds have defined luxury. But as this countdown has shown, the future of the gemstone world may be far more diverse than many people expect. From rare geological wonders to gemstones rich in history, mystery, and individuality, each stone on this list represents a different reason collectors are looking beyond traditional diamonds. Will diamonds remain iconic? Almost certainly, but by 2030 they may no longer stand alone. Now we'd love to hear from you. Which gemstone on this list do you think has the best chance of challenging diamond dominance in the years ahead? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey through the future of luxury gemstones, be sure to subscribe for more fascinating discoveries from the world of rare gems. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.